What is happening? A pause from the post of Dr. Strive Masiwa. It is always fascinating how people answer that question. It basically depends on what you are paying attention to. Some people are paying attention to politics, some to sport, some to celebrities in music and movies, and yet others are interested in gospel. There are even newspapers to cater for them. There is nothing wrong with any of it because that is your interest, and I will never criticize you for it or ask you even to change. But what if I ask you that question as an entrepreneur concerning your industry, concerning your country's economy, concerning Africa, globally, what is happening? Sometimes I will call someone like Ralph Mopita and say what is happening. It means I'm looking for his insights on the African telecom sector because he runs MTN. All Babatunde Soyoye. We can chat for an hour and scan the entire continent and then discuss the capital markets. Or I can call Dr. Agnes Kalibata and say what is happening. She will smile and say, how much time do you have for me? Then she will give me a detailed update on African agriculture. What is happening, Edwin? He is the first guy to tell me that avocados were going to be a hot market in Kenya long before it happened. If I ask you, what did you think of Tijane Thiamo's move recently to build his own spark? I will not feel we are the same game if you say you never heard of him. This is one of the elephants from Africa in the business world. What about the guys at the Flutter Wave? Please pay attention to what matters you as an entrepreneur. It does not take a lot of effort to plug yourself into following what is really happening that matters to you as an entrepreneur. This is part of the essential reading I was talking to you about last week. But you will need to make some choices about your priorities and stick with them. Time is a highly treasured resource. Once you waste it, it's gone forever. Homework. Today, when I ask you what is happening, I want you to tell me about African Pathfinder achievements that you see here on this platform and across this continent. I always get goose pimples of pride when an African or person of African descent achieves something that we have not done before. I just know that for them it required breaking through a higher level of difficulty. But I also know that success for them and some of you is always a pathfinder for others, and it always happens that others follow. Last year we had some incredible pathfinders in the business world from Africa hit the world stage. I really hope you have been following and learning important lessons. Last month I wrote you here about the few of these amazing pathfinders, both women and men. Now I want to hear from you, and you can send photos and links this time. Who are some African pathfinders that we and the world need to know about? Is there a pathfinder living right next door to you, or a younger cub, maybe even a child or a teenager, busy innovating and reimagining new ways of doing things? Is there a company you read about also on the news and you said, wow, they are really going places? Is it you? Hey, what is happening? Let's talk. The move you are afraid to make could be the one that changes everything. When you can't control what is happening, challenge yourself to control the way you are responding to what is happening. That's where the power is. Austin Uzim writes, Strive Masiwa in Tanzania, a guy named Daniel Rehula is a pioneer in cockroach breeding. The six-legged insects are gold in the eyes for the young man. He sells each kilo for €5. Cockroach farming seems to be Africa's new oil to look out for. Reports cited online indicates that people have eaten insects and hydroponic crops for hundreds of years, but farming them is new. My reply: this is a powerful example of innovation in agriculture. If you want to make more money, look at ways to introduce innovation to it. When most of us think of going into farming, we think of growing maize, cattle, or the things we see others doing. But the person who thinks as an entrepreneur is restless to try their hand at something unique that is innovation and fulfills Drucker's law on wealth creation. Innovation plus marketing makes money. Innovation makes money. Innovation makes money. I remember visiting Entebbe at a time when the lake has these tiny flies with a highly entrepreneurial American, and I will never forget what he said to me. These would make incredible protein for fish, birds, or animals. Someone should start harvesting them. Bet they would be millionaires in no time. Some people see a nuisance in a cockroach, and someone sees protein which can be harvested. Ivan Semkoto writes, Strive Masiwa, this is so generous of you, sir. My question is, in a business, how can someone really decide to shut down the business and move on after trying all possible ways to give the business life? Thank you, sir. My reply: the most important things when a business fails: 1. Appreciate that you are not alone. Most startups fail. So don't beat up too hard on yourself, and don't let those who never took a risk in their lives make you feel bad. You have nothing to be ashamed of. 2. Settle the affairs of the workers, even if it takes you years. Make sure they get their money. 3. Take time out before the next ventures to assess your mistakes. Notice I said your mistakes. It takes the greatest humility to admit that you probably made mistakes. 90% of the failure comes from mistakes by the entrepreneur and his or her team. The success of your next venture will be built on correcting the mistakes you made in the last venture. Imagine you are the coach of a football team and you lose a championship game badly. It is not the end of the world, but you know that the next time you must correct the mistakes. So you go over and over the game. It is painful, but eventually you realize what needs to be addressed. This is how the Barcelonas of this world were built. Now, if all you can see are the people to blame, including the government, the workers, the banks, the customers, a rival, witchcraft from your village, everyone except you, then there is no hope for you except to look for a nice job. An important reminder: 51% does not control a business. People who want to control a business through owning majority shares don't get very far with investors. Such people can be very oppressive towards investors. Whenever a serious investor asks me the question, how important is it that I have 51% of the business? My answer is always, it is not important. What is important is that the business has the capital that it requires. I cannot choke a business simply to preserve control. That is so selfish to all the other stakeholders. I've been voted out of a company's management many times by investors. It was all part of the game, and I know how to fight within its rules if necessary. More often than not, I actually don't do anything and simply protect my shareholding, whatever the percentage. All the big companies you see, from Microsoft, Alibaba, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, would not be there and that big if the founders had insisted on so-called 51%. Get over it. The purpose of a company is to produce profitable solutions to problems of people and the planet. Professor Colin Mayer, Oxford University. I profoundly agree with this definition. As long as the product and services are not produced unlawfully or are harmful, that is why we are in business. Even a small tuck shop or someone selling oranges and vegetables, they are fulfilling the same purpose as the biggest. Think about it. Your own business. Tell me how it also produces profitable solutions for people and the planet. Adao Vianney Mavungo writes, Dr. Strive Masiiwa, how to make due diligence with investors? My reply, there are two processes in due diligence. 1. Due diligence by an investor on you and your business. A professional investor, someone who is not your friend or a relative, will normally require you to set up what is known as a data room, where you dump all legal documents and accounts relating to the company. It must have the latest accounts. If it is an existing business, a business plan, documents on contracts, registration, proof of payment to taxi and other regulatory bodies, bank statements. They will require that you have on hand your accountant and your lawyer to go through all the documents. There is usually a standard checklist that the investor sends you. 2. If someone approaches you and asks to invest, you are entitled to ask them to give you information that confirms who they are. The normal procedure is to contact a corporate lawyer, someone experienced in business law and practice. They would draw up a list of things that the investor must show. It is tricky to do because most big guys don't like it when some younger guys start asking them to prove they are who they are. You just have to be wise to get what you need. If the investor is someone from your local community, discreetly ask around to see if you are dealing with someone who is honest and will not try to take advantage of you. Ultimately, it is important to have your own lawyer help to put the agreements that are signed by all parties. Withheld rights. This is indeed a platform to be, but as an entrepreneur that want to grow, how can I have the grant to build my empire so as to carry others along? My reply, what is this thing you call a grant? A grant is money that is given to someone by way of a donation. Why would anyone in their right mind give you a free money to do with as you please? If you want a grant, talk to your father. Even a government should not be giving grants to entrepreneurs because that is money from taxpayers. And what is an empire? We don't use such words in serious entrepreneurship. It is okay for someone in the press to describe a large business as an empire, but it is embarrassing for an entrepreneur to use such a word. Never use it if you want to be respected as an entrepreneur. When you hear mergers, you often hear another word closely associated with it: acquisitions. When we bought a company in South Africa called Newatel, the second national operator from India's Tata Communications, it was an acquisition because the owners of the business were leaving. We already had our own business in South Africa, which was called Liquid Telecom South Africa. We merged the two businesses into one. We had planned carefully why we were doing it and the actions we would take. We discussed these plans extensively with the lenders and the investors, and we demonstrated we could do it. When you merge two companies, you are not looking for 1 + 1 = 2, but rather 1 + 1 = 4 or even 5. So we draw up a table using the 6 items I showed in another comment. We review: 1. The products. 2. The market, customers, and the marketing. 3. Innovation, going forward to create better and more products. 4. The people. Who is going to be doing that in the new company? What is the caliber? What is our ability to get access to the best people out there? Who are the out and out specialists that drive this business going forward? And in leadership, who will run it? How do you accommodate the founders if they are still around? Tough one. What about the board of directors? 5. Process. A bigger company requires more sophisticated management processes, from IT to distribution to HR to financing. 6. Cost. By combining the two companies, we must be more efficient. This means some people will probably have to leave whilst new ones come. Finance. This is a skill. I know some of you don't like to hear that, but I am not here to make you happy or join a self-pity party. Many people don't access money because they lack skills to raise capital, and it might be a good way to solve this problem by merging with someone else who has the skill. The greatest opportunity is already right there in your eyes. What is it my mother used to say now? Finest fruits are often on the land of those who don't know what to do with them. If I say to you that computer of yours is more powerful than all the computers of NASA that put a man on the moon, you will surely answer me to say, Mr. Masiwa, I don't even have a laptop. And yet, by every definition of a computer, your smartphone is a very, very powerful computer. I am an engineer, and when I look at the smartphone and how people fail to take advantage of it, I shake my head. What is in your hand? There are so many websites and online sources of business news online. Here are a few that most of you should know about by now. You can also go to the Society Explorer and click Global Services to get the latest news on BBC, CNN, Sky, and Al Jazeera. As entrepreneurs, where do you get your business news? Make sure it is a credible source.